Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. We are on Women Like Me, Stories in Business, and I am your host, Julie Fairhurst. And I am here today with a lady that I've actually known for, gosh, I don't even know how many years now, Theresa. But we've known each other. We've kind of passed in the same circles and for a number of years. So I'm very excited that Theresa's here today. She has got all sorts of good stuff to tell us. And why don't we start by Theresa? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you very much for having me today. It is kind of weird because we've passed in the night, but never been face to face for a while.
Yeah.
So, I am a retired RN. I have been an RN for many years, and when I retired, I moved to the Oregon coast to basically relax. And that's kind of a focus of what I want to do. I want to relax. I want people to learn how to relax because I don't think anybody does. And so the calm is something that I'm really kind of focused on. I like people to know where their upsetting thoughts or something come from. And so my podcast is the Mindset Minute, and a lot of it is your mindset. Now, I know people throw that word around a lot, and realistically, it is what it means to you. It's not anyone's definition. But what my podcast is for, what my focus in speaking is about calm. Try to get away from the stress because stress can make you sick. And if you can learn to see the signs of what's making you very stressed out or is changing your mindset to something negative, if you can see those signs, you can combat them and bring them back to center, and then you do well.
Yes.
So I don't, calm the chaos is one of my sayings because the chaos is all around you, calm it. And just know, one of my funniest things to say is they can't take away your birthday.
Oh,
A lot of things can happen, but they can't take away your birthday.
no,
So,
they can't.
kind of sit down, relax, and realize that, you're in control. You're in control of your thoughts, you're in control with your mind, and that you are especially one that at times throw that control away. And so
Yes.
let's bring it back to center. Let's bring it back to you are in control.
Yes.
You can always say no. That's a good word, no. And, um, try to take care of yourself. It's a lot of self-care that's here.
Yeah.
And I like to talk a lot about that, personal situations. I like to talk about maybe a theme for a week. So if I'm going through something, that theme will go through that week. So primarily, I am trying to reintroduce a podcast because I've had a couple of things come up and I was not able to write and or read my
Yeah.
podcast. So
Yeah.
now that I haven't had that access, it's back now. So I want the people who have enjoyed it and more come and join me for the Mindset Minute.
Perfect. Absolutely. Well, I'm sure by the time we're done, you're going to have all sorts of people just climbing over each other to listen because you're a very smart lady. As I said, we've known each other for a number of years now. Teresa, can I ask you, how did you start? Like, what was your journey to get to the mindset? Like,
I've been a nurse for umpteen years, and I moved from general care into specialized ICU care.
mm,
And I found that a lot of people w- didn't know how to calm themselves. The family members didn't have any calm, and so they were bringing that into the hospital room. And it's a very stressful time. And so to calm that down, to breathe, to relax, to know that it's all in your hands, to be in a hospital room, to be in your normal life, because if you're very stressed out in a hospital room, that's not good.
mhm.
And then it carries on to when you go home and, you know, stress does make you sick.
Yes.
You have to learn how to release it deal with it, and be a happier and healthier person. So the more I saw these things going on in my professional life, I used some very simple calming mechanisms to say, take a breath, breathe, and relax. I know it sounds kind of corny, but if someone's going through a really tough time, try and relax. Try and give it away so that you can actually give that away and see it for what it really is.
I don't think it's corny at all, Teresa. I really don't, because um, if you are in a high state of stress, you're not thinking clearly,
Right.
right? You can't make the best, or maybe you're not going to make the best decisions for yourself or for your loved ones. So trying to be in that calmer state is, so I agree, it's super important.
Well, and a lot of people, don't think that they can do anything about it, or a lot of people relinquish their control to someone else. And then they find that they've doubled the problem because they didn't make the decision and it might not have been the right decision for them.
Right.
So that's where I got into it. And then I decided to do some public speaking on calming the chaos and how to, breathe. Basically, my focus is on breathing. My focus is on, you cannot focus totally if you are this tied up ball of, stress, that you need to release some of that so that you can see maybe another person's opinion. Maybe you can see something that's right in front of you, but you can't because, you're looking everywhere and none of them are making sense to you.
That is such a great point. You're right. I think it's just, yeah, you're just not even, I mean, I've dealt with people before, and because my background is as a realtor, I'm retired now, so I'm done. But dealing with, it's a high stress, not anything like you're dealing with at the hospital, but it's still a high stress buying and selling real estate and losing out, and all of those things that come with it. And you're right, people, um, they have to really back up and take a deep breath. I had a lady once, I remember this now. Every time we'd go in, she bought an apartment from me, and we'd go into the apartment and she'd do this as she'd walk through. And so finally I said, wow, you do a lot of deep breathing. She said, so that I have clarity. And I thought, oh, you're smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And people, will do that. But when they get in this major stress area, you'll see people do that, or you will look at that person going, "What are you doing?" And you need to understand that breathing, taking a decent breath, trying to clear your mind so you can look forward. If you are not doing that, and then it multiplies.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a domino effect.
Yeah.
And a lot of other things happen. If you're totally stressed out, and I use that word in a general sort, you can be sick. That you ever wonder why you go on vacation and then you get your cold? It's because you finally let go and here comes the cold. You kept it away for a while because you've been so stressed out, but now you're sick.
Yeah.
Because you took the time to be sick. You don't know that you did that, but you took the time and it's just all balled up and ready to let go.
Yeah.
So, that's what some people really do relate to is, yeah, I took a week off and I was sick the whole week, and it's like, well, what have you done before the week to take care of yourself? Well, they don't have anything.
Yes.
And you really need to turn it around and, do it continuously.
Yeah.
Plan for 10 minutes to do that. 'Cause
Yeah.
a great thing about sleep is, if you take the 7 deep breaths, you should be able to relax to sleep. And you can do that mindset when you just before bed, so you get better rest. You can do it in the middle of an argument, just to, close yourself off. Look at yourself in a bubble and say, nothing's going to come in to me. I'm going to take care of what's in this bubble. And I really do think that stress makes you sick, but you can learn and take care of that. With COVID, it was amazing how many people that were with people that had COVID were okay.
Yeah.
Many family members, they couldn't be with their loved one who's sick, but they were okay not being there because they weren't in that they were in a high stress situation, but they learned how to take care of themselves.
Yes. Yes.
And, a lot of you ever hear when people pass out or people are going to, they tell you, breathe, just breathe, take a deep breath. Wonder where that comes from? Okay. Um, take a deep breath and, think about something that you love. Think about, don't keep thinking about what's stressing you out. And, you need to bring that inner energy, that healing energy in, and you do that with a breath in and let go of the stressness with a breath out.
Teresa, I think that so many of our stresses are uncontrollable. And so many of them come from other people.
Yeah,
Right?
they come from out of your bubble. They do.
Right. Yeah. And so for myself over the years, I found I can't control it. I can't do anything about it. I'm not going to focus on it. It's kind of like, you're on an airplane, could crash. So I can sit there and go, oh my goodness. Or I can say, can I get a glass of red wine, please? I'll
Right.
just sit here and relax.
Can I learn how to sit in this plane and, just let it go?
Yeah.
And
It
a
goes
lot of
down. You can't control it.
no, and a
No.
lot of people need to realize that their stressors, you can't control it, so move away from it.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm,
And I think also that, I mean, I guess it depends on people's life and situations, but I find too that a lot of what we stress about is worthless.
mhm, very
It,
much so.
Yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
remember years ago, had a friend, and she had many children, and she said, Julie, I just got to pick my battles because if I were to be on these kids for every little thing they did, I would just be nothing but a tyrant. So I sit back and I pick my battles, and then I'm more effective. And I remember thinking, oh, that's smart.
well, and what are they learning if you're a tyrant
Right.
or not? So when you sit back and you listen and what's going on, you watch what's going on, and then something happens, then it's a teaching moment.
Mhm.
And so for your child, it's not, I'm screaming at you. It's now think of this, and it's a real teaching moment.
Yeah.
So, in a lot of respect, it's a teaching moment for you too, because you were stressed over the plane, but you realize you can't do anything about it. So, what are you going to do to self-soothe yourself? You're going to kick back and, enjoy the ride.
Yes. Yes. Because there's no other option, really. Or I guess there is another option, but it's not a good one.
Well, yeah, really. I mean, but
Yeah.
that's what people want you to, kick back and focus and realize what's going on. And since you did say that stress comes from everywhere, you
Yes.
need to pick that battle. And a lot of the battles you don't even want to do anything with, you just have to, in your own mind, say, is this going to affect me in 2 years?
Yeah.
I used to think about this when I take tests. And is this one test going to affect me for the rest of my life? And at the time, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was choosing that battle. I was like, okay, well, I'll take the test, but it's not going to, kill me. It's not going to affect the whole life.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to go on with that. A lot of people don't really agree with that. A lot of people don't think that that's a good way to think of, but yeah, it really is because is it going to affect the rest of your life? Then do something about it. Then
Yeah.
you know that's the one you got to take care of. But
Yeah.
if it's not, you can put it on the side and deal with it at a different time when you're not so stressed because you don't make those good decisions, like you said.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's the same thing when they say you should sleep on it. because you wake up the next day and it's usually not as big a deal as you thought it was when you went to bed.
Right. And, you know, you can't take away your birthday is the best thing I can, tell you, because some people get so upset and so this and that, and time and that time. And if you just kind of kick back and say, all in good time, when you make a list or something, all in good time, you'll get it done. And what a feeling of accomplishment if you did make that list of things you got to do and then get to cross things off.
Yeah.
Um, you're also then prioritizing, but you better put yourself on the top of the list,
Mhm.
you know.
I 100% agree with that because if you're, it's, it's the airplane again, right? If that mask comes down and you don't put it on yourself first, then you're useless to everybody around you.
Oh, and people are like, "Oh, I have to put it on my child first." They're so upset when a flight attendant says that. And no, you're taking care of yourself to take care of someone, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
And I just kind of feel that, listen to the whole meaning of some things. They don't tell you that, but think of the whole meaning to the statement, put it on yourself first and then with your child, or then with.
Yes.
A lot of times jumping to conclusion is not a good thing. And they say, when you have a confrontation or it's usually a misunderstanding, so why not talk about it and make sure that you understand where they're coming from and they understand where you're coming from. It's really a soothing thing, if it's hard. Oh, it's hard. But courageous conversations at work is a great, group activity because you learn how to phrase and then you talk through it. And, y- you know, I don't think anybody's really out to get you. And if people are out to get you, let them have it.
Yeah.
Mm. And you let them have it in two different ways. Let them have what they want, but then let them have it from you. Let them know that you know what's going on and you're not going to stand for it, or you know what's going on and you can have it, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because your life and your mindset is more important than petty little things that go on.
Absolutely. If you're not healthy, you can't pass that along to. I find for myself with my program, Women Like Me, what I find is that we as women are the glue, I believe. And so if we can get ourselves together, get our mindset healthy, get our bodies healthy, develop some healthy life strategies, it will just automatically flow to the people around us. And our
Yeah.
children will be better, our partners, our spouses will be better, our co-workers. It just really spreads out. And so that's why I focus on women first, because just like you say, we have to put ourselves first, and we don't. We're notorious for putting ourselves dead last most of the time. And of course we're here to care for our loved ones and of course our children, but that we can't care for our children if we're sick in bed.
Well, and when you are doing well, you realize people do come to you. You know, you draw people to you, and they may need help or they may just want to be around you because you've got that kind of energy
Yes.
that, you ever wonder why sometimes you're in a room with a bunch of people and they're almost all drawn to one person? I bet that one person really has their act together
Mm, mhm.
because they're putting out the energy, they're not putting out negativity, and I don't care what you call it, but they probably got that room sized up and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you do draw people to you when you have better energy that you're sending out, and you can't do that when you are well, stress is like, let's like jagged edge. And when you let that go, You smooth out those jagged edges. And again, you're smooth, you're taking care of yourself. You have the right mindset. You're calmer. I mean, if you have the jagged things, your calm bubble is popped. You want to smooth that out so that your bubble is fine.
Hmm.
I have a story that got me started in speaking. And one of it was, I had this caller, and, when you're taking calls as a nurse, they're just come in, and I had to pick up on all the subtleties that they were saying to me. And the gentleman was kind of nervous because he couldn't really pick up his coffee cup, and he works in a tire shop and he was on a break. And so I asked him some things like, when did it start? What happened? Blah, 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 blah. And then I calmly had to tell him to get help because he was having a stroke. And I couldn't tell him that, but I had to tell him how important it was to find a coworker to share what I tell them. And, that takes some really measured words, very measured approach, because if I would have told him, hey, you're having a stroke, go to the hospital, it might scare him out and he wouldn't go.
Right.
But I also had to be able to tell him that, hey, this is serious and you need to go to the ER. Then I got to talk to his friend who he pulled over and I said, get him to the ER now. He couldn't use his hand. I mean, when did it start? I got to tell him that. I said, just go in and tell them that, yeah, I'll drive you. I'll get you there. Now, that gentleman that helped him had to have his act together, had to be calm, and so it's an approach that you have to have with people when you know it's an emergency.
Mm.
For him, it was, he got better. He got to the hospital in time, and they came to see me at my office to show me that he was okay. But a
Oh,
lot of times when you do that kind of telenursing, you don't know what happens.
no, no.
But, it was so good. But on the other hand, did I treat him any different than any other call? No. It was just the level of severity that I had to tell his friend and then tell him in a way that, you've got to go see someone. They need to lay eyes on you, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
can't do it on the phone.
Yes.
And, so a lot of times it's like you can't do it alone with people that are with you. Sometimes you need to go get help,
Yeah.
or sometimes you need to discuss it with someone because a lot of this confrontation sometimes is just a misunderstanding. And if it's not, and you're in that conversation, maybe you can work it out.
Yeah. Wow. That must have been a high stress. Sounds like you were in a very high stress position.
Well, it can be very high. It can be, those kind of calls don't happen every day. You get a big payoff when they actually do what you tell them.
Yes.
Because I could have told him that and he could have, nah, I'm okay, and just not have got to the hospital in time to get the right treatment.
Right.
And so, but on the other hand, you might just get some, little old lady who can't poop, you know? And so you're giving them those kind of situations. Still urgent, still important, but
Yeah.
a different way to take care of it.
Yes.
So I mean, first of all, you have to tell them to relax. I'm glad you called. I'm glad you, reached out. Here we go. You know, it's not just because I think you're hyperventilating, because you're not. You're hypoventilating. You're not taking the deep cleansing breaths. You're not relaxing enough. And then tell me what's going on. You
Yes.
know, and the 7 breaths to help you rest, so important. But they have to be nice deep breaths, and you have to be able to like let it go. You have to be able to let the day go. There's always tomorrow, and if there isn't tomorrow, you're going to be gone anyway. So, hey,
Yes.
um, what are you going to do that in your life today that will matter?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what you have to look at. What are you
Yeah.
going to do today that will matter?
Yeah.
Um, you know, as I get older, I realize that a lot more of my friends may be ill or pass. And what am I going to do to deal with this? And what I'm going to do is always tell people you love them,
Mhm.
because it might be the last time you talk to them. Or I want to be there for them because if they're reaching out or talking to me, I will help you.
Mhm.
And I think in this high stress, I'm getting pulled in 700 different directions. Again, you have to prioritize. Is this really important? It's important to you, then I'll listen. I'll try and give you the right answers. But you are asking me, and I might not be the expert, but I'll help.
Yes.
And
What do you think? What do you think? Like, if somebody's listening and they're just their mind is chaos or chaos all around them, and they're listening to us, but they have no clue what to do. Like, if somebody's on the beginning of their journey of mindfulness, what kind of what advice would you give them?
well, reach out to someone to release some of that stress because it is a large release when you talk to someone, anyone. I mean, if you're going on a crisis line or something because it's that bad, or if you're just talking to, a friend, you're talking to someone in your church, you're talking to someone who is trained in, mental health or whatever. I'm not saying that you're a mental health case. I'm just saying that sometimes you just need to vent and that will bring some of that stress down. Now, if you don't have anyone, that's when you reach out for the professionals. But just know that if you reach out to someone, they don't hold it against you. I mean, they actually probably have a little bit of, pride, and they're very proud of you that you did reach out. But if you're just starting and things are feeling like they're really out there and you've got the jagged edges, you have to, again, kind of prioritize what can you do and what you can't do. A lot of things you cannot do, control initially, but is there something in the underlying that you can do to lessen the issue? I mean, if somebody's freaking out over blah, 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 is there one thing that you can do to help them? I mean, sometimes it might be your stress, but maybe it's their stress. They need to talk to you.
Mhm.
They need the verbalization to get it down a notch.
Yes.
And I would say just don't handle it alone. Take a few deep breaths, try and be calmed, and then try and move on. But it might take 4 or 5 sessions or 4 or 5 sets of taking those breaths and relaxing to look at the problem in a different way.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great advice. I think that so many of us get just caught up and we don't take the time to sit back, breathe deep, try to relax and let the uh let the solution come to us. I was just thinking about, when you take a shower, I get some great ideas in the shower. And I think it's because your outside forces are kind of they're out there because showers are calming, you've got that water running on you. It's peaceful, and I find that I can get all sorts of fabulous thoughts and ideas when I'm taking a shower because I think I'm relaxed. So if I agree, speak to somebody, reach out, do whatever you can to find that mindfulness for yourself because it's so important.
Well, and in a shower, it's self-care. You know,
Yeah.
you're washing all that away. And I think that what do you like to do? I mean, that's a shower for you. Maybe for someone else, it's sitting on their patio. You don't have to do it for a long time, 5 minutes,
Yeah. Yeah.
find that 5 minutes somewhere. And you toss around a lot of words I'm tossing, that are cliche, like self-care, like, mindfulness, like this, that, and that. But realistically, make those words not cliche, make the words make sense to you.
Yes, yes, for sure. Yeah, and what works for me or works for you might not work for the next person, but
Mhm.
they can find that for themselves. I know years and years ago when I was started my mindset journey, it was all about affirmations and listening, and back then we didn't have the YouTube of the world. So now we have, I mean, I listen every morning. I get up, I make my coffee, take care of my kitty cats, and I have got a mindful, positive YouTube motivational rah that helps me out through the day.
We'll see, and you outreach to get that.
Yes.
Maybe that's what you need to, tell the viewers that you can find many things, okay? If the first one doesn't fit, try it again. Try something else.
Yes.
If you kind of feel silly doing that kind of stuff, well, then that's not for you. Find something that does work.
Hmm.
I mean, maybe taking your dog for a little bit longer walk.
Yeah.
I get the best ideas outside.
Yeah.
I just do. I get the best ones. And so maybe if one thing doesn't fit, try something again.
Yeah.
So change and try something new.
Yes.
Um, you might the first time think, oh, it's kind of silly. Well, you missed the point.
Hmm.
And so you weren't ready then. And so, maybe it's not for you, or maybe you want to listen to it again.
Hmm.
I have a couple of favorites that I like to listen to. I even subscribe to a mindset that's kind of hypnosis, kind of, that'll take you away and bring you back. And for me, that's what I like. I like a little hypnosis in my podcasts, in what I listen to. And really, it's when we want to talk about mindset, we want to talk about things. It's such a broad topic. It means so much different to me than it does to you.
Yes.
But we have that middle ground. We all have a little bit of middle ground. And so we do agree on a lot of things, because that middle ground is there.
Hmm. Yeah. I this has been a fabulous conversation, Teresa. Really. It's I think that anybody that's been listening, no matter where they are in their mindful journey, they there's been some really valuable tips that you have been able to share, and I really appreciate that. What would you say to, in closing, what would you say to anybody that's watching or listening to us? What, and they just, maybe they're digging in their heels. They're like, I don't know about all this wonky stuff. I don't know. Like, but what advice could you or encouragement could you give to them?
I think I would ask them to give it a try,
Mm.
because it might not fit you, put it out there. A lot of these mindset, podcasts or mindset anything, they have like a group chat. And why don't you put something, you can put it in anonymous. You can say, I'm an anonymous, but say, hey, I'm not getting anything out of this. What am I missing?
Ah,
Because there might be somebody in that chat that felt the same way until blank. And so I think sometimes that helps. Or, send a message to the person who is in charge or is doing that particular piece, because sometimes they can help guide you in what we're doing. Or sometimes they're just going to say, maybe it's not for you, or you're not ready. But if you're not ready, well, maybe you're just not ready for theirs. You need
right.
to maybe move on.
Yes.
Don't take it as a slam, either, because what
Yes.
you need to do is very, very personal. It's very difficult because you are allowing some of those feelings to be seen. I know that a lot of people don't want to show their feelings, don't want to be, they want to get fixed. Give me a pill. The great American, if I take a pill, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And sometimes not. Sometimes
No.
it's an ongoing thing. You might need support on and on and on, because lives aren't perfect.
Mhm.
And you may need someone to say they're there, for lack of a better term, for a while or to continue.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to say to people is like, if it doesn't fit, try something else. And if it does kind of fit, maybe, you know, if it's been recommended to you, maybe send a comment or a request to someone about it so that you might not be in the space to see it all.
Mhm.
And maybe you're missing part of it.
I just love that. I love that the advice to just go anonymous in the chat or reach out in the chat and just to say, whatever it is that's concerning them. I think that's fabulous advice. You have to be brave, but it's a step. It's a reaching out step. So they're not just sitting there going, "Oh, I don't really get it. It's not really, I don't know." But now they're actually making a positive step and reaching out. I think that's just fabulous advice. Really, really good.
And then there is a bit of attachment. There is a lot of people aren't attached to anything. I think that's somewhat our problem these days is we don't feel like we're part of anything.
Mhm.
And so when you reach out, you might just get a little bit of attachment and get a little bit of, oh, good, I'm feeling good about this. And I think I belong. That's really what you want to do. That's really what you want. And I think we all need just a little bit of kindness in our life.
Mhm.
And a lot of the group chats do not allow nastiness.
Mhm.
And so you should be able to get like a nurturing comment, or you might be able to get, yeah, that happened to me, get over it. But I think if we become more of a community, then you're not sticking out, in left field. You're
Yeah.
actually, you're crawling in slowly to
Mm.
the community that you're watching it. You're all watching it. I mean, you're all part of it because you are watching it.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's just great. And no, excellent advice. Well, Teresa, this has been fabulous. It's just got me thinking too, which is good. We as much as we work on ourselves, there's always more that we can do. It never growing never stops. And so I appreciate all of the tips that you gave us. I think that our viewers are going to really and listeners are going to really get a lot from this conversation that we have had. So I really thank you so much for being willing to come and do this. So for anybody that's watching or listening, if you would like to connect with Teresa, she has her Mindset Minute podcast, and I think she does it 3 times a week. And so short, to the point, good motivational stuff. So don't hesitate to head over there and follow her and get yourself set for the day. So
Yeah,
Teresa,
there's a
yeah,
lot of things like say mindset. You can look it up under my name and you'll get to the right thing. So,
you said
mindset minute
you're doing it. I'm sorry, Teresa. I don't think we said your full name.
Crowley. So
Ralph.
Theresa Crowley,
Yes.
Crowley.
Okay, perfect.
Because there's a lot of, but wherever you get your podcast, it should be there. And you can also email me at Teresa@teresacrowley.com.
I'm going to put that email address in the comments, or not comments, I'm sorry, in the detailed section. So anybody at all that would like to reach out to you will have the information to be able to do that.
And
Well, yeah,
just know that, we're all a work in progress.
yes, yes, we are. You're right. Yes, we are. And perfection is not real.
Oh,
It's not real. So let that one go. Yeah. Okay, Teresa. Well, thank you so much for doing this. So remember, everyone, Teresa's information is going to be in the details section. So head over and check out her mindset minute. Certainly you can contact her by email. That'll be in there as well, and a little bit of a bio. So you can reach out to her and keep your mindset good and strong. So thank you so much, Theresa, for doing this. I really appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.